So, gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let me first regale y'all with some visual aid. Let's do some visual aid.
We
So,
got here.
Mr. John Wolf, I remember you speaking to me a week ago about please go ahead and try GeForce Now.
I paid for your first month, right, to try it
You
out.
paid for my first month, yes?
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? Although I have tried GeForce Now, and I'll tell you my history of GeForce Now in a minute, I will give GeForce Now another try. So it actually, believe it or not, also coincided with a time frame when GeForce Now was having a deal where for $100, $100, 6 months, you get your 3 months of GeForce Now. I'm sorry, 6 months of GeForce Now Ultimate and 3 months of Game Pass thrown in for free.
Hell of a deal. Hell of a deal.
Pretty good deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I signed up, and I got to tell you, with the exception of one fatal flaw, this thing is brilliant.
There you go. But before you get
flaw.
there, before you get
Mhm.
there,
Mm-hmm,
I see your visual cue for the show.
mm-hmm,
I let you know early last week when the sales results came out. I
mm-hmm.
acknowledged that
Oh,
Mario Wonder outsold Sonic Superstars.
oh yes,
Sir,
yes.
I pay my debts.
Mhm,
The
mhm.
knee has been bent.
Oh, look at
There
that!
you go, sir.
Look at that! He did it! He did it! Look at that! He did
All
it,
right.
ladies and gentlemen.
The
All right,
knee
I'm gonna
has been bent.
see now. You should have said that earlier, so I would have put you on the front screen. Here.
No, hell no. So I
He said, hell
paid,
no.
hell no. I paid my debt. Now I will tell you. Now here come the
Yes, sir.
excuses. Okay.
Okay, yeah, go
'Cause
ahead.
I already humiliated myself. Okay. So now
Mhm.
let me just tell you this. It's just a little bit weird that Mario was feeling the pressure. Okay. That QVC had to bail his plumber ass out by going on sale for $39.99 on the first day of release, man. That's all I'm gonna say. I bought it for $39.99 on release day through QVC, and Nintendo was putting that out like it was going out of business all month on Twitter. Get the game $39.99. That's all I'm saying, man. Were they scared?
You done yet?
Just saying. But I acknowledge
now to counteract your point, that game also leaked all over the internet, and unfortunate heathens who didn't pay for it were playing it ahead of time.
Who would do that?
Of course, none of us know anything about that, do we?
Hell no. No.
We're all paying customers, but still
$39.99. Yeah.
It trounced all over the rat that is known as.
He's not a rat. He's a hedgehog, damn it. All right. And Dave, look, Dave.
But you know what? No.
Dave is as unentertained with this conversation as you can be because he's playing his Portal there. Okay.
What are you talking about? No. Don't even say that. Don't even say that. But let me show you guys what's going on. Let me show it. So, as you can see, this is the interface for the for GeForce Now. I have to say, I really like it. What you're looking at right now is actually my library. Like most of the stuff is games that are in my library, and they well, every once in a while you have them scan your various libraries that they connect to, and because of that, they show you what's available in your library.
Were you impressed? Were you impressed that they had so much with all the licensing mumbo jumbo that's going on?
Well, so that brings me to my history with it. Okay, so I am a proud owner of the Shield, the NVIDIA Shield. I actually owned the first OG Shield, the first one. They have revised it multiple times, but I own the very first one, and they've been supporting it ever since. Right, it's been supported ever since day one. Yeah. And when you got the first generation Shield, it came with a beta version of what is now known as GeForce Now. So I used to use it all the time on the Shield, right? And so basically what happened was when it officially became day one, hey, it's the GeForce Now, all of us were grandfathered in and given a year of free subscription, right? So we're like, wow, look at all our stuff online available to us. We can play it anywhere. and then systematically we watched as all the publishers took all their games and went home. So all of us did that.
Yeah. So what?
It kind of went away, and it's come back, but not in 100% fashion. Because
No, yeah, and the tough pill to swallow is that you had everything, and then they took it away overnight. So I get it. That is quite disappointing, especially when you use other things like Moonlight, but you're streaming from your own PC and you still have your own library.
Exactly.
It's still there's still different little things that you can do here. It's just as a service. I told you why my need was there, because I was away from my home. So and I was low on battery. So I kind of just remembered somebody mentioned, hey, GeForce Now, give it a try. I'm like, let me give it a try right now. And it worked so well that I couldn't, like, I had to actually tell people about it and brag about it, because honestly, I had a great time. And honestly, the games that I was playing with the 4080 equivalent, all the bells and whistles turned on, ultra settings.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Ray tracing,
really does look great,
especially on your ROG Ally. Now you're kicking on all cylinders, and it is crisp, crisp.
So I will push back on one thing, and then that will lead us into our guest, right?
Sure.
I'll push back on the idea that you have to use it on the ROG Ally, because that defeats the purpose. The Ally could do it itself.
Yeah,
but if you do it on something like this, and you're showing all the ray traced bells and whistles, and it has like long lasting battery life, now we're talking about something else. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gamers Playground, where you will find us speaking about handheld devices on occasion. You'll find us speaking on cloud-enabled devices on occasion, PCMR topics on occasion, and we'll have great guests like the man himself, one of the Gamers Council, Mr. Web Dave. Good evening, sir. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. John, Kay, you guys are amazing. I love your show, and I greatly appreciate your invite.
Oh, this is great to have you here. Now, and this is an auspicious time to have you here, because we're speaking on a different handheld that we will talk about. But this handheld, you are also the owner of, I recall. We had this discussion before. You're the owner of the G Cloud, and you're also now the proud owner of the Portal, which tells me you are slowly turning into the handheld king, sir.
Well, I actually sold my G Cloud.
Ooh, he did.
Didn't really need it, since I had the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, and now
I'm pretty familiar with Dave's kind of handheld history, not because I stock them. I at it either way. But because obviously I watch him every week on Boom Show. You know, he's a regular on Boom Show, and I do know Dave actually. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember this. This is actually pretty close to an anniversary episode that we did together, us three, covering the G Cloud. Which I'm gonna tell you, it's not to pat ourselves in the back, but no one else did coverage like we did on the G Cloud. That's my own personal experience, like feelings on that. And I will tell you that coming after this show, I don't think no one's gonna do a better job than us at talking about the PS Portal. So that's just a little spoiler of what's coming up. But Kay, I know that you had a great show this weekend, and Web Dave as well. If you guys want to plug that real fast, Web Dave, you want to finish plugging your show that you just had last night? I haven't listened to it all yet, but I'll probably get to it tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun last night. We me and Red Tree try and do a show every Sunday. I haven't missed since we started, so knock on wood that'll continue. so yeah, it was a really good show. We had the Mag and we had the Wandering Dutch both on. Boomstick alums, as it were, and so
we kind of all are, if you think about it.
Exactly, we all
absolutely,
exactly, and it was a great show. Talk about all kinds of stuff, and then you know, we're just it's the holiday week, family, gaming, and being here with friends is really nice.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Absolutely, it's great.
How about you, Kay? I know that you had an awesome episode on Saturday. Covered a lot of topics, man. You want to kind of highlight that so people can go back and check it out after the show?
I appreciate that. Yeah, we actually had Mr. Sika Mechanico on. I love saying that. That is a good, very complicated gamer tag from Xbox era. Mr. John Clark himself joined us, and we discussed a myriad of interesting topics, including the past, present, and future of Xbox, which I thought was really cool. He was able to join us, give us some interesting nuggets of information that he was able to that he's uniquely capable of doing. And we talked about his book. If you haven't checked it out, you guys should definitely go do that.
Oh, the one that I'm totally not jealous that you have and I don't. That one.
Well, that's the thing. There is a chance that you can still acquire yourself a copy of the existing book, and he gives you a little spoiler alert that there might be another book on its way.
Wow.
With the Xbox 360.
Oh, I'll definitely pick that up. That's my favorite console of all time, so I'll definitely pick that one up. So I'm not gonna sleep on it. I slept on the OG Xbox when I shouldn't have done that. Okay, let me ask you this: Was this also the same episode where you, Everborn, and your guest were ranking on me and Web Dave for buying the PS? No, I just play with you. I just play with you, Dave. We're the few in our community that actually purchased this product. Okay. So that's what I'm kind of excited to talk to you about, because we're really gonna kind of do a deep dive on this thing, not only on our thoughts, but also on I know that we're gonna get into the technical aspect of it with you, brother. What were you gonna say?
No. It's interesting that we come to that point of it, that conversation, because I think I went backwards. I initially was going to buy one. I had one pre-ordered, just like yourself, right? And then last minute in, I was like, you know what actually did it for me? It was Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 did it for me. Spider-Man 2 and this thing right here, right? Spider-Man 2 and this. I was like, you know what? So, long story short, I initially started playing the G Cloud on this thing, and GeForce Now on this thing, but on this device, GeForce Now has a very weird issue, Within GeForce Now, the B button doesn't work.
Yeah, I heard you mention that. That's crazy.
Only within GeForce Now. Everywhere else, B button, perfect, everything fine. Inside GeForce Now, B button doesn't work. So I was like, I'm frustrated. So what I wanted to play, I ended up playing Spider-Man on this guy.
But Ken, let me ask you something, and I'm sorry to cut in on what you're saying. So you're telling me with GeForce Now, that is a service that comes pre-installed on.
I have reinstalled it. I have uninstalled it, reinstalled it. I'm part of their beta program. I have removed myself from the beta program so you get a stable version. Got a stable version of the app. Install that. There is what is it? There's gamepad or gamecontrollertester.com. That all of them have been verified to verify that the button itself functions everywhere else.
That's crazy.
In GeForce Now, which is
I got one suggestion that I'm sure that your technical self probably tried, and if you didn't, maybe I just gave you an idea. Did you try to launch GeForce Now through the web browser? Through Edge or something else?
So within this thing on Edge, that's a thought. That probably would work.
Just throwing that out there, because
it's
crazy.
Try that, because I've tried it on a browser everywhere else. I just haven't tried it on a browser within this thing. But needless to say, my roundabout statement brings me back to I ended up spending a lot more time on my PS5 because of that, and I ended up playing Spider-Man New Game Plus. Well, not New Game Plus, but another run of it, and like I cannot, unless you guys right now, and Web Dave, you were an owner of this device, unless you guys can tell me that device can, the portal can somehow do so much better what this does now, plus everything else it does, it just made me not justify its purchase. I wish what you're holding in your hand would do more, but
I don't think we are.
Doesn't do more. It makes it very difficult for me to separate myself from this in order to get that.
Yeah, and I don't think we are. And knowing Web Dave's kind of history with the handheld stuff, when he gets into his portion of explaining his reasonings of wanting the item or whatever the case may be. He'll get to it. But I know that one of the reasons why he couldn't, I know because I tried to help him many times, I couldn't help him get to the finish line of having his G Cloud work with the PS5. We tried everything under the sun, his router settings. We tried like 3 times at least on the phone. WebDave.
The Chiaki version didn't work.
And I even recommended I even recommended another app that's through Android, which is kind of like a Chiaki clone that you need to pay for it. Poor Web Dave paid for it. I think it was like $5, right?
Still didn't work.
And it still didn't work. And I personally think after all was said and done, and it was, I think it's the router. The router, for some reason, that app didn't like the router that Dave has in his house. It just wasn't allowing for that PS5 connection. And I even went as far as to like troubleshoot it to like down to the T, where I uninstalled and went through everything. Like if me and him were in real time together, and we couldn't figure it out. So I know that for Web Dave, the purchase is justified even more for me. Like like his justification for wanting to play remote play through his PlayStation 5. He has way more reason to own this than even I do, because this is 100% for like the majority of us, and that includes myself. It's a luxury buy. So let's get that elephant out of the room. Is this necessary? No. Is this something that is that if you have a PS5, you should run out and get tomorrow? No. It is completely a luxury item. It's like buying a DualSense Edge controller. You don't need one, okay? But if you're that type of gamer that you're always into, hey, this new thing came out and I want to try it. I want to try the tech. I wanna have the the flavor of the ecosystem with this thing or whatever the case may be. That's kind of like more of the side of the house that you need to be on. Basically, you need to be a sucker. Okay, like I am, and I call it for what it is. I'm a fraud, 100% fraud, because company, like I was sweating buckets not to press the buy button on the Steam Deck OLED. Okay, but I did good. I held back. Why? Because I did the responsible thing. I did the thing that you did. Yeah. You looked at the situation and you said, I don't need it. I wish I would have done it. Now, should I have done the same with the PS Portal? Maybe, but it's a luxury buy. So you have some of those.
Well, but you know what? Like $199 isn't the worst thing in the world. When you're going a little further than that, then then you're in other territory. But you know what? Let's start at the preamble of it all. Let's start at the right. You just wanted to test out the tech. Clearly, WebDave, you needed a device to accomplish the task that this guy didn't accomplish for you, right? You just needed a thing to accomplish it, right?
Correct.
So let's start with you, sir. You've had it since launch. What has been your experience with it? The plus. Well, give us just your initial take. We can get into the pluses and minuses of that after, but just your initial take. You've used it for a while now. What games have you played on it? How does it feel?
It feels great because it's basically the DualSense controller playing on a PlayStation 5, just stretched out with a nice, big, beautiful screen in between. And that's, and then there's actually, thank God, there is a, headset port on it where you can actually just plug a regular wired headset in, because I'm definitely not going to spend any kind of money on a proprietary Bluetooth system it's ridiculous. But anyway, so yeah, that's that was my first thing on it. And then so the reason I got it, I like spending time with my family and my wife. Who doesn't? Spending time with their family. So and a lot of times there'll be times when she wants to watch something on our big screen TV in the living room. Then we're in the same room together, have a conversation, interact, whatever. But she may want to watch something and I don't. Well, this way she can watch what she wants, and then I can play something else. Now I have these other devices which I would play like for Game Pass or whatever, kind of thing. But I don't want to have multiple. I have multiple Xboxes, but I don't want to have multiple PlayStations. One's enough. Trust me. So with this, I can actually play it in any room in the house. Not a problem. I play it on the back porch, play it up front, whatever. You actually can go places with it, but it's a lot of hoops you have to jump through if you want to play it like at a Starbucks, someplace like that, or if you want to play it through, through a hotspot that you have like on your phone, and it is able to do that, but that's where some of the lag can come in. And I did try it at Starbucks to see, and it was a little jumpy, most part pretty good, but every now and again it would hang and then then go back into it. But I wasn't playing an online game. I was just playing a me against the game kind of games. So but it, for my needs, it's kind of what I wanted. It's what I needed.
And Dave, you did the hotspot with using your cell phone. That's how
Correct.
you were able to connect on it. So you tethered your cell phone to it. Okay.
Yes. Yep. That was easy to do. Basically, I just made it a hotspot, and then this just found that, and then was able to jump on because there was no permission had to grant. Like if I tried to use the Wi-Fi that was at Starbucks, it was free, but it makes you click an agreement.
Okay, you've heard about this, right? You've heard this shortcoming. Okay,
yes,
now
they did not include a browser, and because of that, when you have to acknowledge that I will not be bad on your Wi-Fi, EULA, there's nothing to acknowledge with, so it won't let you continue. Yes,
which in my opinion, Dave, right, with some of the review scores that I've seen around different websites and the current kind of, I guess you can call climate that there is with games media at the moment. It kind of lends its ear where you kind of have to scratch yourself if you're out there on the fence thinking, why should I buy this thing if it doesn't even have a web browser? Like, it's crazy to think that a device, especially a cloud gaming device with a tablet, attached to it, it doesn't have a web browser. You can't connect to the Google Android store. You can't connect to the Apple iTunes store. Sony doesn't have their own store with apps and games and stuff like that, which, I'll get into it a little bit later with my full thoughts on it, Dave. But were you even with that, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going. Even with the shortcomings that this device obviously has it served its purpose for you, which is to play your PlayStation 5 remotely?
Yes. And that's really all I need for it. So for me, this works. And I do have a little bit of disposable income. So I was able to purchase it. Christmas gift to myself, whatever you want to call it. So to me, it was, not that big a deal. Would I recommend it for everybody? No, I probably would recommend it to nobody unless you had the same setup or need as I did. If you're a family and you have like your bunch of kids watching TV and you're watching cartoons or whatever, and you want to play your game system and you're sitting, but you still got to watch the kids, that might be a good reason to have one, that kind of thing, or just whatever, or the household is kind of asleep and shut down mode, and you can plug in your headset and you can either lay in bed or kick back in the recliner and play a game without disturbing anybody else. It's good for those kind of things. So there's a lot of scenarios where it's good for. If it had a web browser on it, which we know why it doesn't.
We know why.
Because Game Pass, I'd have Game Pass on this thing in a heartbeat just to see if I could. And who knows, there may eventually be some kind of workaround.
And it's also Sony's way of controlling the device from getting hacked as much as they can. They're going to try to protect this thing as much as they can. Why? Because, again, they're very protective of their ecosystem. Some people see that as a good thing. Others don't. I think that us three here and everyone in the chat is more on the side that we like to tinker and we like to kind of do more with our devices than what they're designed for. So that's one thing that if let's say that you're an Apple person, that this might not bother you. You might be used to being enclosed into one ecosystem, and you play by their rules. And hey, what what I want to know with you, that you're the only one of us three that has not tried out the device. You asked me
The
as
smart one.
Yeah, pretty much with his money, absolutely. So you asked me a question. You said, "Can you convince me to get this, even if I have a G Cloud at the moment?" And honestly,
Mhm.
the only thing I can tell you is that if you like, okay, I think that you were kind of sold on the design of the device at first. That kind of had you
Oh,
thinking
no.
about it,
Look, it's
right?
not that I was sold on the design. I am sold on the design. Okay, it's a very simple design. It's about let's be clear. Let's all be clear, right? This is the best PlayStation controller they've ever made, hands down. It's better than any other PlayStation controller, battery life notwithstanding, right? And let's also be clear: when we handheld guys see an 8-inch screen, like we see an 8-inch screen, we're like, oh, hey now.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful 8-inch screen that's on that thing. So
Pause.
combine yeah, I know. Dual sense with 8-inch screen, you got a winner, right? That's the
Mhm.
reason why I love my A1 Pro. It's got a big, beautiful 8-inch screen, pause, and a good controller that fits in the hand quite well. Double pause. Anyway, so
or are you happy to see me? Anyway, sorry.
stop. So at the end of the day, I have no issues with it, with the design of it. I'm disappointed at its limited nature. And we all know it's Android backed. We all know it's got a Snapdragon processor in it. And because of that, it can easily be used to do what we all know it should be able to be capable of. They put an Xbox. Xbox. I see you there, 3-bit. What's going on?
I had to put
They
that,
just
because the tax is
I know
going
you
around.
did.
So people are paying
They
their
put
taxes.
They just put an Android device, an Android operating system underneath it, and then made sure you couldn't access it in almost any way. Which
It's very
almost
Sony
anyway.
of them. Very Sony
Yes.
of them. And
Yes.
and you can see PSVR 2 written all over this thing. That they're
Mm.
gonna try to make this thing as hard for anyone to do anything other than what it's intended to do. And
But see, but here's the funny thing, though. Okay, here's the funny thing: because they were not first to it, right? I already own this device,
Mhm.
so technically, the only way they're going to get me to buy that other one is to show me that it is capable of going to those places. Because guess what? This guy can do it.
And
Look
it's a
at him.
beautiful
He's
screen.
doing it right now. It's a
And
beautiful
you know,
and
I've owned it.
one thing I bet this battery lasts longer than the other one.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Web Dave, I think my testing, I got 5 hours out of it. How much is
Yeah,
that
got
about right?
5.5, 6.
About
That's
5,
actually not
6
bad.
hours. It
Yep.
depends. And
That's great.
but it depends on the game that you're playing. Because remember, if
Mhm.
you're playing
Like
Astro,
Rumble.
it's gonna probably shorter.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it really
Mhm.
depends on the DualSense features, right? So again, the device, right? You know, okay, that I've owned the G Cloud, I've owned
Yep.
the Razer Edge.
Mhm.
I now I own this. I also own the ROG Ally, and 2 Steam Decks. Okay, I've owned 2 Steam Decks. All right, and I almost got the OLED this past week. Okay, I will tell you, the things that they got right about this device is that it's an extension of the PS5 experience. There, they nailed it.
Okay.
Those other devices, yes, it's about playing the games at the end of the day. But what do I mean by that extension? What I mean is that you get all of the features, all of the bells and whistles of your controller, of the DualSense, which is really PlayStation's selling point this generation, right? That's one of their selling points. And for a small novelty like that, for someone that is on the fence and is completely invested in the PlayStation ecosystem, where you breathe and you sleep trophies, you buy all your indie games through PSN, you want to run a couple of strikes on Destiny, you want to get those backpacks in Spider-Man, because again, you want to platinum the game and all that good stuff. Not that you can't do that on the G Cloud, but if right now I wasn't an owner of the G Cloud and I went into a store and I wanted to platinum Spider-Man through remote play, I would probably pick this thing up because number one, it's cheaper, and number two, it's very PlayStation-ish because it's a PlayStation product. So, and I think that it's very reflective of the sales that we're seeing because, yeah, it's mostly scalpers that are probably buying this thing early on because, if you go to eBay right now, it's completely flooded. And heck, I was even tempted the first day that I got it because I saw they were going for like $450. And you know me, Kay, I'm Mr. Flip. Okay, if I see a good deal, I think about it. All right. But
Mr. Flip, he says. Oh, fantastic.
I held off because I know that we were going to do the show, and I genuinely like the product. Now, I think with that said, I think this is a 1.0 device, Kay, and Dave. I think that this is a test version of what they will eventually do. And what I mean by that is that this device is basically just a DualSense with a tablet in the middle so that you can play it. This is the Wii U version of remote play right now. It's the Wii U version that you need to be close proximity.
What? Look, the only other version that you can see that could potentially show up there is one that has a SIM card in it. So you can do it actually on the go with a 5G chip. That's the only other variant it's talking about.
Yeah.
Short of that, they have to actually put a proper OS in it. And oh my God, it may have a browser. Hell no.
Yeah, no. So where I think that they're gonna eventually go is that I think in 2 or 3 years you're gonna see a 2.0 version of this device with two things. The first thing is gonna be an upgraded OLED display because it's Sony and they can do it. They cheaped out here. They could have done it here and they should have done it because I think it would have made the product more enticing, in my opinion. But they should have done it here. But I guarantee you that OLED's coming on a 2.0 version model. And the second thing that's coming is that we already see them testing out cloud gaming through your PS5 games on the console. So I do think that eventually, if they're smart, I mean, I would do this. Eventually, they're going to release an app that you're going to be able to play, through this device, through the cloud. And that's when you're going to see its true potential. Right now, again, Kay, I don't think I can convince you other than, hey, if you want a DualSense controller, brother, that has a screen on it and the screen's really nice, and you want to pretend that you're sitting and playing PlayStation and you get the adaptive triggers and all that good stuff, and it makes you feel good inside, that's the only reason. If you're not, hold out. Your cloud can do it. Save the $200, use it on something else.
I mean, even the adaptive trigger argument, even that is lost when you think about the fact that your existing tablet. I have like a Galaxy Tab S20, S6 or something like that. It's an older tablet, but when you connect it to your DualSense, wherever you go, as long as it's connected to the DualSense, it also does the adaptive trigger stuff.
No, absolutely.
But
hold on, and this is my pushback because you know that we're all about convenience, gamers. That's
what
we are.
Sure.
The mobility
of it is second to none.
You don't have to think about that. So that's kind of like the caveat there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dave, tell me about the build of the device. What you think about? Do you like the fact that I found it the first day to be a little bit too wide? To be honest with you, I'm sorry that my camera's kind of crapping out on me here, but I found it to be a little bit wider than I was expecting. It might even be wider than the Steam Deck, believe it or not.
It doesn't bother me. I like the way it feels. I mean, it's I would say it's comfortable. So is, I mean, I don't think it's any kind of hindrance at all. I don't. I like the screen size. I like what it does do. It's it looks pretty good. To me, I get an OLED like on a TV looks fantastic, and I had the original the PlayStation Vita with the OLED, but I traded that in because of that OLED and had a lot of money left over to buy the remake that they sent out without the OLED. To me, I would not, even if it was the same price, upgrade to the OLED version for the simple fact that I just because the screen is that much better quality. That's just me. I mean, I'm just saying that's me. The one thing I do want to say, like I said, the quality is I think it's pretty good. I think it's neat the way that the lights and stuff are on it. The thumbsticks are smaller than the ones that are on the actual controller itself. The one thing that does get me, and it's just to kind of backtrack what y'all talked about earlier, was the review score for this. The Steam Deck and the ROG Ally both did really well, and they are so much more. They're basically a handheld PC that can do so much and play so many games and do so much more,
including what this can do.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that should have taken at least a point off from the get-go, and it's like the same score as the ROG Ally. It's like that's
and in
a lot.
And in some places even higher.
Yeah,
so
stupid. There's no
so
reason
that's why to me, right? That's why the novelty of this device is kicking in here for some folks that are completely enamored with the PlayStation ecosystem, where they're like, they think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread because it's a DualSense. That's what it is. And they're carrying it around everywhere in their house. And they're like, oh, look, I can blow into the controller, and again, I think that novelty is what PlayStation is banking on here. They're looking for an excuse, and I think that they kind of figured out a way here strategically. They're looking for an excuse to tell the consumer, hey, you guys know about all those handhelds that you keep on reading about and looking at YouTube videos and stuff that they're like $500, $600, $700, all that. Don't get that. You don't need that. Here's a $200 device that you can keep on playing your PlayStation. We're giving it to you cheap. We're making it look pretty. It's your controller. Here you go. And that's, I think that their strategy in how they kind of circumvent people from tempted to taste the waters of the Steam Deck. Because it's a $399 investment and up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
I want to throw in there real quick.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that a lot of people you got to remember, no matter what, this device is useless, worthless, and does nothing without a PlayStation 5.
Correct.
You have to have the PlayStation 5. Or this is just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
See, but you can't even plug it in and use it as a controller.
That's the thing that's even nuts about it. Like, to your description there, like that's why some of those decisions they've made is so head scratching to me. Mm-hmm. One single point of failure is bad enough, but two, that's just very strange, right? Like that's why the G Cloud hedges its bets and can do Android stuff. Right, because its point of failure is the fact that under normal circumstances, it's got a very weak processor. So all it can really do is cloud stuff, right? Mm-hmm. That's what people, unless you want to go through the rigmarole of figuring out how to emulate and all of that, which normal people will probably not do. So it's basically aimed for that cloud audience, which is fine. But they hedge their bets for, hey, you're at a doctor's office, you have no internet, Candy Crush, you can do it, right?
Yep.
Right. This thing could do exactly that, but they limit even that capability. So it makes me go, not only do you have to have a PS5, which is a big barrier of entry for a lot of people, $500, right? But then you also have to have an internet connection. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have let's say you are a PS5 owner and you don't have 5G with you wherever you are, or wherever you happen to be, isn't that personal Wi-Fi that then allows you to just get on without having to acknowledge, then you're kind of screwed on both ends. I feel like they didn't think it through completely.
It's because they're banking on the type of consumer that again is so connected to the umbilical cord, to their PlayStation. I'm being honest with you. It's not a knock on it. It's just honestly the people that I think this thing is really catering to, because the reason I got it, Kay, is because number one, I'm irresponsible with my money. Clearly, as you can see here.
You just keep saying that.
I mean, but I just like to keep it real. You know me. Number two, because I you know that I like tech and new stuff when it comes out, and I'm a sucker for
Yeah.
that stuff. It really is a passion of mine. And number 3, because I wanted to find an excuse to play my PlayStation 5 more, and I wanted to spend money in order to do it. You see what I'm saying? So
No.
I'm the exception. I'm like the 1% that's gonna buy
Has this
this.
successfully done that for you though?
Yes, it has.
Successfully, has it made you go, okay, now I'm more likely to pick up my PS5 because of this device?
I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I've put a lot more time into
A game that
into
you
my
would have bought in third party on an Xbox, you will now buy here because
No.
it's accessible.
No. This is to clean up that backlog of PlayStation games, because the PlayStation is my first party. It's a first party machine for me. So
Okay.
the Spider-Man
same.
remaster, I went back to test it out and to try to platinum it. I'm almost 70% closer to the platinum. I would not turn the game on my regular PlayStation. Now you can say, "Oh, that's dumb." No, it's because it's because I want to play the game while my wife is watching something, like Web Dave said, while she's watching her K-drama. I want to be next to her playing with this thing. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's just a luxury item that I bought, completely unnecessary. So for anybody that is watching this and you're like, "Hey, do I need this? Should I go?" No, unless you really are a tech head, you really love your PlayStation experience, you are liking the PlayStation 5, you love the DualSense, etc. Those are reasons to get this. If you want something like, you're in the fence between the G Cloud type of device or this, it's a no-brainer. If you're gonna go with the G Cloud because you're open to GeForce Now when the B button works. You're open to Game Pass. You know, you can do
and by
what
the way,
this thing does.
A side on that, you asked the browser. The browser, you can still use it, but then the browser won't detect your controls.
That's a fail.
Won't detect the controls at all, right?
You see,
So
that's a fail.
there's a weird thing with this thing.
Mhm.
It's weird. I've already sent a message to NVIDIA asking what the hell's going on. We'll see about that. But yes, continue.
Can I say just one last thing, Dave, before you say?
No, it's your
just,
show.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, I just want to ask you one last thing, because I don't regret my purchase. Do you regret your purchase?
No, I don't. I mean,
Neither do I.
because it's doing what I thought and wanted it to do. I would like it to have been better mobile wise, like at Starbucks or McDonald's or a hotel, type thing. That would have been better. But since it doesn't, no, that's okay.
Just add a damn browser, you cowards. Just add a browser. Like,
They're
it's
weird. What's the
Yeah.
problem? You know?
Hey,
And
go ahead. No.
No, please.
I was just gonna throw in. You guys mentioned it earlier about the, all these are selling out, blah blah blah. It's easy to sell out when you don't make that fucking many of them. Excuse my language.
Yeah,
No, that's a good
They
point.
didn't flood the market with these things. They didn't.
That's
and
true.
then there probably will be more. I'm sure they're going to trickle out and stuff. But it's easy to sell out when you have a limited number of.
I think you're right about that.
product available.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with Web Dave there.
So what I think is so unusual about this thing too, on the media playback front, right? It's always been known that because of potential copyright infringement, they don't allow for rebroadcast, right? So you can't watch Netflix through remote play, like ever. None of them will let you do that, right?
Can't even watch YouTube, sir.
Yes, if they detect, because YouTube has a potential to play
Let me try.
copyrighted material, right?
I'll show you
YouTube has YouTube now has movie rentals and stuff, so they can't let you do that, right? So it's hilarious. You have this device that you should be able to want to use to walk around and play Netflix and all that, and just use for media consumption.
You can do it on your console.
Exactly, but because it's using the remote play protocol, you can't play it to your screen. It'll tell you it's unable to.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll always tell you it's unable. It just will not.
It looks like it's gonna start, right? That's YouTube there. I press the button, boom. Right there, it's telling me I can't access. It says literally go to home screen connected to PS5, can't display screen. So and here's the thing, right? Because again, it's no secret that we prefer Xbox. Hello, you know, if anybody's watched any of us, that's no secret. So it's not that we're shitting on this product.
Oh.
It's that we're being as honest as possible with it. I have been consuming Sony products since the first Walkman, and when Sony themselves as a company, releases a product that is so featureless, it's kind of shocking to me, to be honest with you, because Sony historically has been known to kind of, you know, with their hardware, to kind of, you know, be up there in the upper echelon and at least close to everyone else, you know, matching and in some places exceeding what the competitors.
Sony hardware is usually amazing. Sony products are usually high quality. Yeah.
So to me, it's incredible, and it just goes to show you that their market position is allowing them to release this bare bones product, this beta version of this product, because that's what this is. This is a beta version of this product, and there's going to be a lot of people that still buy it, in my opinion. And that's crazy to me.
I think you're disrespecting the notion of the word beta, because beta only suggests that they will then iterate upon it. I hope it's a beta, because if it's a beta, then 6 months from now or a year from now, when we're talking about this thing, maybe more iterations of the software has been released, and as such, it's now more far future complete. Nothing they have in there, with the exception of Bluetooth, can't be solved without software.
Right.
Software can clean a lot of this up, except for the Bluetooth part, which is egregious and ridiculous.
Well, let me get to the technical talk of it, okay? Because that's where I think that we can pick your brain. And Web Dave, if you have any technical questions for Kay, you can go ahead after. I'll ask you this one question, Kay. As soon as I turned on this device, it needed a firmware update. And I'm laughing, and you saw me in our private DM that I was showing screenshots and stuff. I'm like, why the hell does this thing need a firmware update? It doesn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So then
no. You look, just because it doesn't do anything doesn't mean in the background they're not shoring up your radios. They're not, you know, making sure that any memory leak issues that they've discovered in pre-production have been solved. There's a lot of stuff that gets pushed out to you on the back end that you may not be aware of, although on the front end they go, nothing to see here. Yeah. So where I'm going with that is that I want to believe that, because I mean, Sony, they need to be smart about this. PlayStation needs to be smart about this. I want to believe that they are setting themselves up for the eventual PlayStation app that is going to be like a Game Pass app, you know, where this thing will be updated, and then now you'll have two ways to connect. You'll have your local on your PS5, and then you'll have the cloud services that you need to pay probably $60 a month for. Okay, knowing them, that's probably what they're gonna do. So that's where I think that this thing is going. That's why I'm calling it kind of like a beta. That's where I'm going with this. Another thing, hardware related and tech related for you. I've done a little bit of homework, and I shared it with you and Web Dave. This tablet that is attached to this thing is probably, I think, from the year 2015 from my research. I've done. What was the processor again?
I'll tell you right now. I have it here in the DM, and so that the folks know too, it was the Snapdragon 415 processor. Okay, this sucker I think was released. This is a pretty dated chip that they went with, and of course they can do it because again, you're not really doing much with this, right? Here's my technical question to you, sir, that I wanted to pick your brain. Let's say that we live in a world where the genius that unlocks the potential of this thing and hacks it. Does this processor even allow you to install Android apps on it? Because I'm kind of worried that it's not powerful enough to even let you do that.
So, okay, let me show you what the Snapdragon 415 is capable of. Well, not necessarily capable of, but what it has powered in recent past. Okay. So
I'll let you take over, bro. I'm going to be off camera for a second.
Yeah, no worries. What you're looking at right now is a screen full of devices that are powered by the Snapdragon 415. All devices that presumably can do your your streaming, your some light what do you call it, emulation, right? All if and when it gets rooted, and by rooted, that is when you're able to find a way of accessing the full aspects of the Android operating system that has been artificially limited by Sony. So the processor itself is not the most performant thing in the world, but here's where I give Sony some credit, right? It's not that much different than what the G Cloud did, right? Difference is they didn't ask $350+ for it. They asked $199 for it. So if nothing else, I think that's to be commended. They saw the fact that the hardware, that most of their R&D dollars were most likely going to be spent on the outside shell, on the big beautiful screen, on the DualSense capabilities, right? And they didn't put as much of a processor into the hardware, but they didn't need more overhead. They just needed something capable, and I think this is pretty good, right? So, I mean, WebDave, during your use case, your course of using it, right?
Mhm.
Have you noticed any slowness that you can equate to possibly hardware failure or not capable enough hardware?
No, not at all. Now
It's
I do
smooth,
have
right?
I do have a fiber optic router here.
Okay,
So
okay.
possibly, but it's not hardline. It's it's through the actual system itself. So it's over
Mhm.
so it's over the Wi-Fi of the PlayStation 5, and then the connecting of this to that. I haven't had any lag or anything like that. So the only time I ever had any kind of stuttering at all was when I went to the Starbucks and I had it through using it through my phone as a hotspot. Then it was, and even then it was still playable, but maybe one little slowdown every 2 to 5 minutes, but the whole thing slowed down because the games I was playing wasn't like online against other people. So, but if I was playing like an online game or something, I'd probably be, yeah, I don't know that would work very well.
Yeah, it seems like it's really made for your single player fare, right? Like it's not made for anything
Well, now,
multiplayer.
from home, to be fair,
Yeah.
you can do multiplayer
Okay.
from home because
Okay.
the connection is just because like I said, fiber optics, so there's no, the latency is just very minimal, and it's no,
Okay.
but there's no stutter or stammer in the system when I'm playing it that way. But on the road, yeah, I could see that it would probably be not good for multiplayer.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, my experience with it, Kay, is that I did my network analysis. I get about 1 gig up. Very, very fast internet. I mean, I pay AT&T for the fastest internet they have, right? Which in my area, I think it's a gig up, so it's pretty quick. The only thing I will say is that whatever whatever encoder Sony has tapped into here, it's, in my opinion, and WebDave, you keep me honest here. Well, you haven't really had a chance to try out PS5 remote play from any other device, so it's not fair to ask. I think that the encoders that they're using, that's where they leverage some of their expertise with their own hardware, because the encoders, when the connection is solid, that it's going and it's working, dude, you almost forget that it's not local. Like, it's that good. Okay? Now, the thing that's tricky about these devices, these cloud devices, that we always say is that everybody's experience is going to be different, unfortunately, because we all live under different conditions. We all have different routers, different internet providers. Our walls are lined with lead and different things that actually hurt the frequencies that are in the air. So because of that, a long time ago, when xCloud started to become a thing, I started really investing in my kind of setup here so that I can have optimal internet in my area. That's what us nerds do. You know what I'm saying? That was a weekend project, all right? So I went out and I bought the fastest router at the time that I can get and all that good stuff. I made sure that I had nothing interfering with my frequencies and all that. I checked which frequency was the best, that you can do that on your router settings. So I am in the most, and from my ability, I am in the most optimal setup that I can be to play this thing. This is like if I'm showing off this product for mass production, you want to come over to my house because it's gonna work real well. I don't know if anybody else that's shown it off on Twitter and has had a bad time has gone through the lengths that I have to make sure that my network is worthy. I don't know if the other person has, Walmart internet. I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you got to be careful out there, guys. Don't let people just crap on the device and say, oh, this doesn't work good. What's their situation? You guys need to ask those questions. And also, don't let people oversell you on the device either, because me and Dave, I think we've done a great job here of keeping it real and being as honest as possible with the device. It's not shit, but it's not the greatest thing in the world either.
I can see that. That. Okay, so one thing I will say is if you hear that I've purchased one, it's because it's very cheap. It's gotten to $99, and there's been a rootkit of a rooting of it found, and as such, I can access the background and play a little bit of it. I will tell you though, a Snapdragon 415, don't expect too much.
That's what I'm saying. They went really cheap on this thing. Really cheap.
Don't expect too much 3D like emulation. I mean, you want to go old school, you want to do some 2D stuff, it'll handle it. Don't expect too much. That.
With this chip, I think that it's gonna be primarily a cloud handheld device with GeForce Now, xCloud, all that stuff.
What would you guess, Kay, would be their cost, their overhead on this device?
Oof, go ahead.
Ballpark. Oh man,
that includes the DualShock and the screen.
Well, okay, so the DualShock itself is where the cost will be, right? The screen they'll do it at cost. They'll be able to get it at cost because they're trying to ship a lot of them. So the screen it could be an off-brand company, and that should be no big deal. The DualSense, what does the DualSense run these days?
I think $70 regular price.
70, and that's way overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
70, yeah, of course, because if it runs $70, and most likely, if I'm not mistaken, it would be like $20, $30 out the door.
Probably,
yeah. So, and that's not counting for the marketing and packaging and all of that. But still, I assume hardware to hardware probably $30. So this, I would say no more than 50.
Yeah, I would think so too.
So Web Dave, are you trying to find out how much we funded Jim Ryan's retirement account? Is that what you're trying to get out of Kay here? Because me and you contributed to it.
I don't think Jim Ryan's getting any more money from Sony at all.
He has to pay them back for all the gas he wasted in that jet.
Pretty much.
I doubt that he's gonna get. I doubt that he's gonna get his bonus. All right, they're gonna be like, "Hey Jim, remember all that gas you used? You got to pay us back, man."
Yeah, but, I don't think Sony has much of a bonus anymore.
Kay, I see Floodzilla, who's always a guest and a great community member to us. He's asking, is that true? Sony has proprietary video encoders? I don't know, but I will tell you, Floodzilla. Oh, they do? Okay, you know that for a fact?
Yeah,
okay.
I know that for a fact. They have
okay.
They are proprietary encoders, but of course they're usually based off of the Linux variant that they they fork it from.
Borrowed.
They fork it from. Yes. Yeah. Well, because it's all, you can use original open source as long as you reference it in your at the end in your EULA and or in your instruction set. So they most likely have done that, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I'm sure they do interesting things there. Like I know that for a fact when you use your remote play from inside your house, sometimes it does ad hoc connections. So instead of using the proprietary internet protocol to connect, it'll connect directly to your device to make the connection even stronger, right? It is in their best interest to use all the tools at their disposal to make this device shine as brightly as possible. I just hope that what you say is true, and in 6 months we're talking about another app that's on here. Because if it's
that'll
not,
be great.
It'll be such a wasted opportunity.
No, absolutely, completely, especially from a tech head perspective, wasted potential 100%. Because that's really, if you want people to jump into PlayStation. What better way to do than this, especially where we're heading in the future, right? Now, there's one more thing that I want to say, Kay, that I didn't get a chance because I was muted, but I heard you and Web Dave talk about it with this whole Bluetooth Ponzi scheme that they got going on here. Okay, because that's really what this is. This is, listen, man, this is 100% fraud on them to do this. But I understand. Again, let me think about it as a business. Again, unfortunately, I hate to think like this, but they signed that they made that acquisition of that company that makes high-end headsets, and they have the Plantar whatever thing. Okay, being audiophiles, you and me, Kay, you more than me. I'm sure that they got your attention with it a little bit. Not that you're gonna bite, but I'm sure that you're listening and you're gonna be watching reviews and stuff like that. Why do you think, from a business perspective, okay, did they choose to push this product to piggyback that product? Do you think that that they really think that people are suckers enough to buy that? And I think I answered my own question when I called myself a sucker and I said I bought this. So are we in a situation here where Sony has amassed, PlayStation has amassed to the Apple upper echelon of, hey, we're going to bring out a headset or a USB-C cable and you're going to pay for it because it has an Apple logo on it?
So I honestly think that the reason why you did not get a Bluetooth chip on this thing is because exactly what you guys described before. What Web Dave actually pointed it out early. You can sell out of something where you don't make many of it. This thing was not meant for mass consumption. It was not. It was meant as a dip in the toe in the water, right? And which corner of the market of the pool are they dipping their toe in? The hardcore corner.
Great point.
Right? Not the casual corner, because the casual corner will have no use for this. It's the guy, like you said, who's knee deep, flush in trophy water, like the one who's swimming in those, exactly.
Or the sucker.
That guy.
Or the sucker.
No, the PlayStation diehard fan. Why? Because they're the ones that are more likely to buy the End Zone branded whatever headset it is instead of, and
they're not bad.
Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way as kindly as I possibly can. If you are the type of person that believed that the SSD was so fast that it could counteract the lack of storage, the lack of graphics horsepower,
you already have it pre-ordered.
You're the same person who will believe that the protocol being provided is far more performant, and as such, they needed to take Bluetooth away to do it.
Or Bluetooth 2.4.
Let me tell you, the high end protocol that they're using for the audio is true. It's absolutely there. It's great. I've used it on other headsets before, but it does not stop you from adding a Bluetooth radio. These days, Bluetooth radios are peanuts on the dollar, like peanuts, right? It was kind of like one of those, to my cynical take, it's one of those, well, we know there are hardcore fans, we know that if we push them in this corner, at least 1 out of 3 will most likely buy this headset because we say so. So let's remove Bluetooth and really nudge them in that direction. How many of these guys have wired headsets these days anyway?
Yep.
If it was mass market, people would complain, but it's not. It's already sold out. Right?
Great point. So, Web Dave, let me ask you another question now. Did you say that you're using a headset that's wired on this thing? Because I am. I'm actually using this same pair right here that I have on.
Yeah, I use my Xbox headset.
Oh wow! Talk about cross contamination. What's going on there? Okay, this man is all about mixing cats and dogs in his house. What's going on? So
not at all.
So Web Dave, let me ask you:
Yep.
Are you are you tempted on getting the headset because of the promise of how great it's going to be?
No, I'll never get the headset. The Bluetooth. So to me, it's proprietary. Can't even say the word. So it basically, it's doesn't work on all other devices. will work on this device and the actual PlayStation itself.
Mhm.
So no, to
Yeah.
me, it's a worthlessly overpriced paying for something when a 50 cent per unit Bluetooth chip could have been put on here.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Oh,
where you're.
and by the
where you
way,
hold your ground.
this thing
Mhm.
has USB-C, and that's what proves to you how craven they really are. Now,
Craven the
follow
Hunter.
me.
Or?
Mhm.
Follow me.
Mm.
Yes, Craven the Hunter. When the Switch first came out, Nintendo Switch, right?
Yep.
Oh, it has no Bluetooth. It was
Oh.
laughed out of the room, right? What did
Except for
people do?
Mr. Joanna Dark, he justified it probably.
Yeah.
They
for
plugged in teeny tiny, like little flat USB-C Bluetooth dongles underneath, which would then allow it to then have Bluetooth, right?
Mhm.
This device, even though it has a USB-C port, they've made sure to limit it so you can't use standard Bluetooth dongle to make it work.
Dude.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's a Craven the Hunter move right here.
Wow.
They want
mean-
you to either suffer or buy their $200 protocol headphones.
Wow.
Like, ugh.
I mean, I'm sure they blocked a lot of stuff on there from that because if you technically if you could plug it into here and plug it into your computer and you were able to hack it, you could do all kinds of things with it. Well, they've eliminated a lot of those avenues so that it can't go. It's basically it'll charge your device.
That's it.
It'll charge your
Nothing more.
device. Exactly.
Yeah. And it takes effort to limit it because it comes with all those features. So you have to go in and go, nah, homie, let's remove this. Let's remove that. That's what they did. It's hilarious. Anyway, Floodzilla, $2 super chat. He says Chiaki and a 6th gen Intel running Xenon OS. I'm not familiar. I'll have
I'm
to
not
look
sure
it
what
up,
that
look
is.
it up. Yeah, probably a flavor of Linux. Equals Zen. And I know Floodzilla. He's about that Linux life. So I see you, sir.
Mhm.
So
Thank you for
Kay,
the super chat.
Yes.
let me ask you one more thing.
Anything you want.
Web Dave and K.
Mm.
This is and this is pretty much all I gotta say. The last thing about the device. If they bring out a 2.0 version of this, Web Dave, and they give you an OLED screen, bigger battery, and it at least allows for you to be able to download the different apps because they smartened up and they included a web browser in this thing or their own app store. Let's just say that they get crazy and they put their own app store, which I know it'll never happen. But if they were to do that, do you see yourself buying a 2.0 version of this device, or are you only getting burned one time?
Well, I don't feel like I got burned because it kind of does pretty much what I expected it to do.
Mhm.
But no, I would not, because of what Kay was talking about earlier. It's like they won't let you play the movies and stuff like that on it. So that they won't, and there will be no download. That'd be the last thing they want to do, is to spend more money putting in a card slot and all kinds of stuff when they can just, I mean, they're probably making, like we said, probably roughly $150 per unit is what they're making off of this device. So yeah, I just don't see him doing it. What was it the Sony guy said? One of the Sony guys actually said that, this device isn't about us profiting off of it. It's about enhancing the experience for our players. That's bullshit. don't let somebody from the board hear you say that. Excuse me? About making us money? I don't think so. So yeah. So I mean, that was a dumb thing for him to say, period.
I gave him, I sent them an email to say, hey, this is what you should say. This device is about letting John Wolf play his PS5 on the toilet. But I guess he didn't. He went with the other thing. That's fine.
Anyway.
That's
but
fine too.
You know what though? But exactly to what Web Dave is saying, which is really bothersome to me, unfortunately. Can you imagine the fact that they give you this device, you pay $200 for it, right? And it's a device in the year of our Lord 2023 going into 2024, and it does nothing of what is to be expected.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird, to be honest with you.
Yes, it's great that it does the streaming. We want the streaming. That's cool. Like, take it from me. I know people people give it a lot of smoke. I enjoy streaming devices. I do. I think there's a place for them, right? But this thing can do more, but you're purposely debilitating it for your purposes, which is very unfortunate. So yeah.
And the reason that I think that I'm a little bit not as disappointed in it or more demandative of it is because I have other things that fill the void of what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So that's why when I want to use GeForce Now, I'll go somewhere else, you know, and I have the luxury of saying that. I can understand someone in the chat or listening to this that they don't have that luxury telling me stick that device up your ass because it doesn't do anything. I understand.
We have a responsibility as people in the community who buy and speak to these things, you know, to look at it from a person who would be using it as their singular device. Like,
Exactly.
you know, I said it to people, like, after playing with the G Cloud for a while, I can understand how somebody can go, I have a Game Pass subscription and that's all I got. Right?
Yep.
I get it now. It's not the fastest experience. It's not the most, but if you don't have another experience to compare it to, this is great. You could just play here. Most of your 85% of your experiences will be flawless, great in your house, wherever you are. You're on your device. It's streaming to it. It's great, right?
Yeah.
It's just that small subset of it that doesn't work, but that's still fine. Someone who's a normal casual who has a subscription, whose buddy gave this to them for Christmas or whatever, will have a great time. And you may actually become a gamer and a Game Pass subscriber in the long run after trying it on this for a while, right?
Mhm.
Right.
I don't see this being the use case for somebody like that.
No, absolutely not, Kay. And
because you can't buy it for them and expect them not to have a PlayStation, or you wouldn't know they have a place. You know,
absolutely not. And
weird.
Ty, what's up, man? Always.
Hey, what's going on, Ty?
Great community member. He does have this question. Why do you guys think Sony went with this approach with the Portal? What was their thinking? What are the pros in Sony's eyes? And we kind of touched about that a little bit early, but I'll just kind of summarize and just say that honestly, my gut feeling with this product after having it for a full weekend is that PlayStation is desperately trying to convince its hardcore player not to look over at the Steam Deck, not to look over at the G Cloud or any other cloud gaming device that's out there. Not even a Backbone. Okay, they wanted to put something on the shelf that was almost instant buy material money, because $200, that's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but $200 is still in that window of instant buy of okay, that's not too bad. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, the Backbone alone is $100.
Yep.
But now you're telling me that you're giving me a DualSense Edge that, you know, in some people's eyes, they may see that as a premium a controller. And now with a big 8-inch screen, and it's only $200. Wow, you got me. This is a great deal. That's what I think the type of consumer that Sony is trying to leverage with this thing.
But you know what? You know what though? They're not wrong, because some level of consumer bought this guy at $350, and it's the same kind of thing, right?
Yep.
They at least gave it to you for $199. Props to them for not gouging you more than they normally do.
I was shocked, by the way, with that price.
It's a good price.
Remember that me and you had talked on this show. I was like, okay, I'm kind of surprised this thing's $199. What's up with it? Yeah. Now I know what's up with it, but like, I wonder why.
My only thing, and you know, Craven Act of Bluetooth aside, yes, we know, we'll give them the smoke for that. But in general, I just hope that they see the excitement in the community about it. You know, it's sold out. You know, I know that there's a whole bunch of blah 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 about it's only scalpers or whatever, but I want Sony to see it, get excited that people actually use it and people like it, and they want to put more into it. A lot can still be done with this in their hands today, right? In your hands today. We could be talking 6 months from now where, hey, a browser shows up. Hey, now it can do this. Now it can access this app store or that app store. They can opt to do a lot more if they so choose. So here's to hoping that people use it. It's exciting. You know, people who like it a lot. And they take the feedback from the community and we start seeing more of it. I
Yeah.
would be glad to pay for these devices. Just give me reason to. Right now, you're not giving me reason.
Yeah, and I don't blame you, Kay, for having that take. Even knowing you that you're kind of like more like me on the side of, hey, it's something new. I want to give it a try because that's just
Yeah.
the way we're kind of programmed. I can totally respect your decision of why you said I have enough with the G Cloud. I can totally see it, and I think that you can also see my point that you're getting the need that you need out of it, and especially Web Dave. I know his situation, why he bought it, why he was excited for it, because he's getting the need that he needed, which was getting his PlayStation to play everywhere. That's what he was looking for. So
Everywhere in the house.
everywhere in the house, yeah.
I mean, this item to me, it's very niche. It's very niche. Very niche.
Mhm.
It is definitely not for everyone. I'd say there's a very limited amount of people that would benefit from this device. If you don't have a big household or you don't have other people occupying the TV that you play your PlayStation 5 on, this is unnecessary. Absolutely.
This is
If,
going into the car shop and asking for the 20-inch rims instead of the 17-inch rims. That's
Yeah.
what this is. You
Yeah.
don't need it, but you're like, I'm already in there, so might as well.
I don't know. You may need it.
Latino.
Just saying.
Okay, I think
What?
I think we've kind of squeezed this subject as far as we can go. If anybody in the
Sure.
chat, if you're really curious about the device and you have a question that maybe me and Web Dave haven't answered, by all means, guys, put it in the chat and we'll do our best. If you guys want to know about the audio of the device, anything like that, we can get into it. Whatever you guys want to know.
So Floodzilla puts a good question in the chat there. He says, given the recent events in the EU with Apple, do we think that they could do potentially the same with Sony, like with those earbud situations? I hear you, Floodzilla, but that would mean that these guys would be successful with it first. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
We want them, and honestly, I wish that wasn't the case, but it is the case, right? We want them to adjudicate it equally, to be like, look, don't even try to make your own proprietary weird standard. Make it even Steven, so everybody can kind of benefit from it.
Yep.
But they don't want to. They shouldn't do that, obviously, because then it also stifles innovation or whatever. They'll wait until like USB-C becomes the proprietary standard everywhere, and then they'll go, "Come on, Apple, it's time to come to the winning team." Right? So much so, side note, that they're now squashing the blue bubble, green bubble debate finally, and are forcing Apple to get RCS protocol into their phones by next year.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Sony's
not big enough to even worry about with this.
They're
stuff.
not big enough to be complaining. Yeah, that's the thing. So they get to do
like
that
the
for a
5 people that are gonna send complaints to Lena Khan is not gonna.
5 of us are gonna write letters.
Yeah, it's not really gonna do anything. Sappho has a good comment. I get more from a damn watch than this Portal thing. I mean, you could probably get the PlayStation remote app running on your phone.
Mhm.
I mean, on your watch is gonna be like this big. Kratos running across. Like this mini Kratos, if that's how you want to play. But yeah, I mean, I understand. I respect anybody's opinion that you think that it's a complete waste of time and it's not worth the money. 100% agree.
Yeah. So real quick, before we get out of here, because I think we're running the bottom of this episode. Before we get out of here, though, not to change the subject, just a little bit of a side, because most of the time when folks come here, they look for tips or hints or anything like that. By the way, before we go, if anybody has any questions they want to ask, now's the time. Put it in the chat. We'll see you. We'll definitely try to answer it before we go. But I did get asked a few times about the best way to put Game Pass, the Game Pass app, on, for example, your Steam Deck OLED, because you now are a proud owner of said Steam Deck OLED, right? You're probably one of those.
I'm bitter. I'm bitter about it.
Yeah, you were strong. You fought the good fight. You were not like Everborn Frivolous Spender who bought his 15th or whatever Steam Deck.
Dude, it was tough, but I held off.
But if you are one of those folks who initially wanted to get a Steam Deck and finally got yourself one, and now you're wondering, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? I guess it's time to hand you a little bit of little bit more tips and tricks and whatnot, right? So let me provide you one or two little tips here for that purpose before we go. Before I do though, if you a lot of those folks are new to this game, they want to build their libraries. You don't know where to start. You go into Steam, you start picking a game. May I suggest the Humble Bundle? As we've suggested on this channel before, they actually right now are having a really good deal on WB games as well as roguelike games, both of which run really well on handhelds. Handhelds that of course play native games and not the PlayStation Portal that needs a piece of hardware.
There it is, Web Dave. There it is. He's dying.
I wasn't trying to slander.
He's dying to slander us. He's trying to be as political as he can. He's done a great job the whole show. There it is.
I was trying to slander you.
Hey, Web Dave, I didn't tell you guys that. I'll let you finish now, okay? But I didn't tell you guys I was going to do this. At the end of the show, actually, I'm giving this sucker away. Okay?
Are you now?
All you need to do, okay,
oh, boy,
is put that you want it on the chat, okay? And I'm gonna expose you for the frauds that you are, okay? When you start saying that you'll take it, and I'll be like, "Weren't you talking crap about it?" But you want it, right? So I'm just playing. I ain't giving nothing away.
Yeah. This man. The views of this man do not represent the views of GCP as a whole or this channel.
Whoever puts that you'll take it, exposed for the biggest fraud, okay?
Sure.
I like that comment you just got.
Lucius hit us up. He's like, nah, it's okay. Keep it. You're the man, Lucius.
So first and foremost, if for those who want to build their libraries real quick, there you are. Check it out. So real quick, here is the one that I actually picked up this morning. Roguelite. I love my 2D roguelites.
Nice.
Bunch of games, and usually a pretty good price. This one's $13, and you get all of these games, right? Or you can go a different bundle. Obviously, the WB bundle. I have most of these games, so I didn't pick this up. But
look
at that
WB
bundle. $15,
man.
all of that. It's pretty.
You know what this is really good for, K? And we said this before. You just got a Steam Deck OLED. You have 0 games in your Steam library. Boom.
Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. So here's your Steam Deck OLED library builder, if you will. So that is the Humble Bundle. Go check them out. Not sponsored in any way. It's just a real cool thing that we check out all the time. And they most of your proceeds go to various charities that you can see detailed here. So I don't mind supporting them. And also, for those who want to install Steam Game Pass on their Steam Decks, I have instructions for you. Now, not only are these instructions for the how to do it the Microsoft way, the official Microsoft way, and I'll put this. No, it's not difficult. It's not difficult at all. And they detail it step by step here. They show you what to do to get started. Make sure this is all on your Xbox and all this. This is for remote play and everything else, right? But they also show you how to do it my way, the one that I like, which is a program called Greenlight. Great piece of software that, like a native app that installs on your Steam Deck that you can then have in your Steam library. You click on it, it shows you your not only your xCloud library, it also able to stream your Xbox directly to your Steam Deck. Really cool native installed app, works free of charge, pretty awesome. And then detail it step by step here. So I will add the information into our chat.
Nice.
And I will also put it in the show notes when it goes up. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out. Follow it step by step. It'll give you proper instructions on how to install it on your stuff. Right?
Only takes 40 minutes, right, Kay?
It takes literally 10, not even.
Okay.
Like it's not a people made such a thing about it. It's just a little bit of a hassle.
You know how long it takes to connect to your PS5 with this sucker? Like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but it takes no time unless you have a PS5, because if you don't, it's a paperweight.
Why you gotta go with the low blows? Okay, we're talking about the what the device does. Okay, we're not talking about what you need. All right.
Absolutely nothing unless you have another device. In your case, it does nothing.
It's an anchor. Okay, leave it alone.
Look, like I said this before. this device is awesome. All you need now, right? Instead of buying a PS5, all you need now is for another company to come along and then have a bunch of PS5s in the cloud and then let you connect this device to any PS5 in the cloud as you go, right? And then you just pay your monthly subscription. You could call it PlayStation GeForce Now Cloud or something.
Are you giving them ideas that they already have at their disposal?
I'm giving them bad
but they're
ideas. I'm
just
giving them
not
bad
using?
ideas.
Wow, what a concept. Wow.
You know what? Before we get out of here, let me ask Web Dave one last question. I know you play on everything. When was what was the last game you played on a PC?
The last game I played on a PC,
I suspect that'll be an interesting answer.
Was when Game Pass had Death Stranding.
Nice.
On
How
PC.
long did you play it?
I don't know, maybe 15 hours, maybe
15 hours?
Roughly.
That's right around the time. Yep. There you go. That's cool.
So.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool game.
Yeah,
I got it right around now. Yeah, eventually I fell off, but I did think it was a pretty cool game.
And the reason I played it was because it was a Sony
available
game in Game Pass.
You just wanted to stick it to them, didn't you? But
yeah.
the funny thing about it is that if you play Death Stranding, you'll have no problem with the PS Portal because you're literally used to carrying a baby around, so you carry the PS5 around.
Would you stop the ridiculous slander? Just stop.
I'm just saying, man. It should be no problem then. That's why Web Dave has no problem with this thing. Okay, he'll just carry the PS5 with him everywhere.
I see a question in the chat from the man BT Maverick 707. He asked, glossy versus etch screen for the Steam Deck OLED. I will tell you, as a Steam Deck OLED non-OLED user who has the etch glass.
Did you just give yourself away?
I said non-OLED.
Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't?
He did
buy one.
Right here.
Okay.
Non-OLED.
Show me the back of them joysticks. Are they white or black? Show me.
There's no button. There's no colored button.
All right. Go ahead. You pass.
Non-OLED. I hear that the OLED variant, the non-OLED variant, the etched glass, while it was good, it did make it a little bit darker, just a little bit darker than the non-etched glass version. And as such, I suspect that it'll be even worse in the OLED variant, because the OLED variant, you want the black levels to be really, really black. And the etched glass puts a small little bit of a film over the screen. It probably won't be a big deal, but if you really care, probably go non-etched on that one.
I actually saw a few reviews on it, Kay, and I can talk about it a little bit. What they actually, what the reviewers actually said was that the edge glass, exactly to your point, it took away from the black levels. So the remedy for it was to put, like Lucia says there on the chat, to put a screen protector on it, and it helps a little bit to bring back some of those black levels. But like Retro Game Corp, he himself said he wants to buy himself a non glass.
Yeah.
Because to him, it just made sense that if you're upgrading for an OLED experience, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Now, where the edge does make sense is like if you're someone that you're constantly on the go and you have a lot of glare in the bus and stuff like that, you kind of have to. It's kind of a good investment because that glare kind of gets in the way sometimes when you're in public spaces or where the sun is really reflective, etc. So,
yeah, I can see that. But yeah, I think this will about do it. Mr. Web Dave, it's been awesome having you here, sir.
Thank
Why
you
don't
for
you tell
having
the
me,
good
man.
people where they can find you, where they can keep up with all the great gaming conversations you have on the Gamers Council, sir.
Well, thank you so much. I'll put it in the chat there, and then you guys can resend it if you need to, because obviously we don't have permission to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's at Outbreak Gamers on YouTube, and we do a show every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is me and Retri, and we have guests on every week. The next week's guest we have Hargeet Chani, and then we're still looking for another guest to join us. Just send our KMA, send you a signal. What? Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But you know, just to let you know that we do we are gonna have a show this Sunday. So yeah, dude, thank you so much for having me on. I don't know how much I actually contributed to the
Oh,
conversation,
dude,
but,
you were
but
awesome.
you guys are amazing, and I really appreciate it. What an amazing!
It's always about
community.
perspectives, man, and you
Yeah,
have a
man.
great perspective. We appreciate you being here. We
you.
appreciate your perspective. And oh, by the way, I have corrected a wrong. You are now a moderator on this channel, so you can post it in the chat whatever the heck you want.
There you go.
Ooh,
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
look at that. Oh, all right,
There
cool.
you go.
So that means
So
I can
no.
block John. Oh,
You can put him on timeout for all
I
his
don't bl-
ridiculous takes.
I don't
You
blame
can
you.
do all that.
teasing.
I
I'm
don't blame
teasing.
you.
Never, John.
I don't blame you.
So, Mr. John Wolf, where can the fine people keep up with your ongoings this week, sir?
Yeah, man, hit me up on Twitter, guys. Like, where I'm definitely on a daily basis paying that Xbox tax. I'm trying to pay off the Xbox taxes, man, but for some reason I keep on getting a bill in the mail. It's so weird. Like when I think I'm done, here comes some more taxes, and I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? But in all seriousness, guys, Twitter is the best place to hit me up. John Wolf, at John Wolf, like it's spelled there. PlayStation, I'll be playing, more PlayStation now that I have an excuse to, looking to platinum some games. Still haven't even played Spider-Man 2, to be honest with you, Kay. There's so many games, dude, to get to. You want to know what game I beat this morning? Like
What's
around 5 o'clock in the morning when I got up today, super early. Jedi Fallen Knight. I finally beat it. Or Fallen Order, I'm sorry.
Well,
I was-
Fallen Order or Survivor? So, first one?
The first one, I was literally,
Ow.
I went back and because I told myself, I don't remember what happened at the end of that game. And I'm like, oh, because I never beat it. Dude, I was literally like 45 minutes away from beating it. And I did that, which by the way, that ending is epic. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That ending is pretty epic. Okay. So I'm actually going to play Jedi Survivor next. And yeah, guys, hit me up. Call of Duty, guys. All the time, almost every day on a daily basis. Don't believe the shenanigans of these corrupted people telling you that Modern Warfare 3 is no good, that the game is a 4. So many people are having such a great time on it. Me and played all the Call of Duties. We're loving the gameplay. The multiplayer is in a good place right now. So don't believe those false narratives out there, guys. And just game, guys, and have fun, and just have fun with all the shenanigans going on. Thanks, Kate.
And as for me, you will catch me on Wednesday on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. And of course, I'll be back here on Saturday with another GCP, hopefully with another interesting guest like we had last week. But until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had some fun. If there's anything you want us to know, anything you want us to talk about, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Tell Mr. John Wolf how frivolous his purchases are, because I tell him all the time. But until next week, we hope you had a good time. Talk to you later. Peace.